Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video I'll be teaching you the prompting techniques that you need to know as a GenAI engineer. So a little bit about me is I'm Chirayu Batra and I work as a full-time GenAI software engineer. I'm also experienced with full stack development as well. So let's start. So what are the types of prompting techniques? So these are the few types of prompting techniques. This video will cover the beginner to intermediate level of prompting techniques, not the advanced one. So the types of prompting techniques are zero-shot prompting, few-shot prompting, one-shot prompting, instruction-based, role-based prompting, chain of thoughts, and tree of thought prompting. We'll go in each of these and see the examples, and also we'll implement that in code. So let's see what is the first type of prompting, that is zero-shot prompting. Zero-shot prompting means we are not giving any example in our system prompt. We are directly giving what is the instruction and what you need to do. So for example, I've kept an example like classify the sentiment of the following review as positive, negative, or neutral, and the sentence is the battery life is terrible and it overheats. I think this is a negative sentence, so let's see. So I'll be testing this in the code. So this is my VS Code window and I'll quickly explain you like what is the code over here. So only this 21 lines of code I've written, so don't be scared what is it. And I have my terminal. So in my terminal I have activated my virtual environment. So how do we create a virtual environment? So the script for that is python -m venv, and the name of your virtual environment, that is venv. You can search on internet how to create, and I've activated the virtual environment. You can search on internet what is the command to activate a virtual environment. So these three imports I've done. So first import is import OS, for which you don't need to install any library. The second import is OpenAI, because I'll be using the OpenAI client, in which I'll be passing the three things. The first thing, my OpenAI API key, which will authenticate me that I've paid something to the OpenAI to use the model. Second is the model name, that the model which I'll be using. Here in this scenario I'll be using GPT-4o mini. You can use any type of model. And the third thing we'll be passing is our prompts. So I hope we are clear with the imports. And the third import is load.env, because I've written my OpenAI API key in my .env file, and I'm importing my .env here, and I'm loading my OpenAI key from the .env. I hope we are clear until line number 6. Alright, if you want to create this OpenAI API key, you can go onto that platform.openai.com and create an OpenAI key. It is very cheap, by the way. And next thing is we have to create an OpenAI client. So OpenAI, so these two packages you have to install. First package will be, you'll do pip install OpenAI, and second you will do load.env. Python.env is the package name. So you will initialize a client by passing in the OpenAI API key. So our client is made, and how we use the client is client.chat.completions.create. You can see the documentation how to use this, and inside of which we pass the model name. I'm using GPT-4o mini because it is accurate, cheap, and very fast. And the messages will constitute of two things. One is the system message, the system prompt, and the other will be the user message, that will be the user prompt. So I've written system prompt over here, in which I'll be writing the system prompt right now before you, and I'll be using the user prompt, in which I can also pass my user prompt here. And whatever response comes from here, I'll be doing response.choices 0 messages.content. That will be the content that will be the final message that I got from LLM. So let's quickly test it out. So I'll be writing a system prompt, like for example, let's try something very basic. So what is 2 plus 2? I'll just directly write 2 plus 2 equals to what? So I'll be running this code using Python main.py, because main.py is my file name. So it says that 2 plus 2 equals to 4. This is returned from OpenAI. So let's write something else. You are a maths tutor. You don't answer anything beyond maths. So I have written this inside of my system prompt, and this is my user prompt. Be careful. So let's run it out. So what is the answer do you expect? It will give us 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So for example, in the case I write me a poem. So what is the expected behavior according to you? But in the system prompt I've written that you're a maths tutor, you don't answer anything beyond maths, but here I'm saying write me a poem. So I think that LLM should not produce me a poem. So let's see what does it says. It says that I'm here to help you with math related problems. If you have any math related problems or topics I would like to discuss, feel free to ask. So it denied me of writing a poem. Alright, so let's see what is our first prompting technique, that is a zero shot prompting, in which we just tell the instruction to the LLM and that's it. So I'll be writing this inside of my system prompt. Alright, and let's keep it in these triple double quotes because my prompt is now multi-line. Alright, and the user prompt, let's keep it empty for now. We don't have any user prompt right now, we just have a system prompt. So let's run it. So what is the expected behavior? It should give me only that it is a negative sentiment, the battery life is terrible and it overheats. So this type of prompting is zero shot prompting, in which we didn't give any example. So short basically means examples. So let's hope on to the next category of prompting, that is one shot prompting. It means that we give one example and then our instruction. So this is an example, convert active voice to passive voice, and we give one example of that. Active is the developer fixed the bug, and the passive voice for it will be the bug was fixed by the developer, and the active voice will be this. And let's see what the LLM produces. Let's copy it and paste it in our terminal in our code, and let's see what it outputs. So I've pasted this. So think in your head what will be the output of this. The service was deployed by the team. Yes, I also thought that this will be the output of this, right? So this is called one shot prompting, in which we give one example and then we expect the LLM to produce the answer for our next question. So this was one shot prompting. So let's go over to the next prompting technique, that is few shot prompting. Few shot prompting means we give few examples, like a couple of examples, 2-3 examples. So let's test it out. I'll explain you later what is the difference between one shot, zero shot and few shot. So I've copied that and I'll be pasting this in my system prompt. So let's read the prompt. Extract the company name and role from the text. So the text is this, and it extracts the company and the role. Again, the company and role in a sentence, it gives in a dictionary. So let's see what it outputs now. According to me, I know that it will give in a dictionary. Yes, I thought in my head that this will be the expected output, and it gave. So this is called few shot prompting. And in production grade applications, like applications that are large scale or being used by many users, like hundreds, thousands or millions, in that we like kind of give sometimes 20, 30 or 50 few shot examples like this. So this giving more examples actually increases the accuracy of the LLM, but we should not like load it at 100, 200 examples. It will for sure degrade the quality of the LLM and make it to hallucinate. So let's go on to the next prompting. Before going to the next type of prompting, we covered few shot prompting, one shot prompting and zero shot prompting. So zero shot is very basic, in which we don't give any example. So the pro of this technique is we need to write very less, and very less tokens goes into that LLM. But the downside is it might not be very accurate in sometimes. And regarding few shot prompting, in which we give many examples, so the downside is like we give like a lot of text to feed a lot of text to the LLM. It increases cost, and also we have a limited context window. But the upside of this prompting technique is we get a high accuracy. Okay, so I've said right now about zero shot prompting and few shot prompting, and one shot prompting lies in between, in which we just give one prompt example. So it is kind of in between. So we have to choose according to our scenario what is the requirement, and we choose the best prompting technique according to that. So let's hop on to the next prompting technique, that is instruction based prompting. So in which we kind of give the instructions like what all is needed and how the output should be formatted, like that. So if you read this example, summarize the following text in 3 bullet points. Each bullet point must be under 12 words. Do not add any extra explanation. Alright, so let's copy this, and text goes here, and I'll copy and paste this in my system prompt. And for in the user prompt, I will just get a story from internet, story of crow. Okay, only this much will copy and paste it here. Let's see what happens now. Again, this got into multiple lines. Okay, just we'll keep it in one single line only. So my whole system prompt contains the story of the crow, and my system prompt contains the instructions what the output format I need. So let's run it. Let's see what it gives. It gives me 3 points. The crow finds a picture with a, you can read it. So but the thing is, it followed my instructions. My instructions was I need exactly 3 bullet points, and each bullet point must be under 12 words. If you count the words in every bullet point, it will be less than 12. So this is how instruction prompting works. You give the instructions and you get the output according to the instructions. So one catch. So let's see what happens if I don't give this system prompt, if I remove it and just pass a user prompt here. So let's see what type of output it produces. So the output that it produced is this much. It took the entire story and predicted something related to it. If you want, you can read this. So it just basically tells what was the story. And all right, let's hop on to the next type of prompting. I hope you understood what is instruction based prompting. So the next prompting technique is role based prompting or persona prompting, in which we tell the LLM that you are this type of person. For example, in this example, I have told it that you are a DevOps engineer. I can also tell it that you are a healthcare advisor, and your tone of voice, how you talk and how you respond should be according to a healthcare advisor. So here in this example, I've taken you are a senior DevOps engineer. So now it will talk like a senior DevOps engineer. So let's copy and paste this example. What does it say? You are a senior DevOps engineer. Explain Docker to a backend developer who has never used containers. Use real world analogy. Okay, so let's remove our user prompt entirely. And paste this in the system prompt. All right, and all set. Let's go. Let's clear the terminal once. All right, so let's see how does it explains. Okay, it took a lot of time, but it produced a big output. So the output is here. Sure, let's imagine you are a chef running a busy restaurant, and it gave a layman example, because in the system prompt itself I told that you're explaining to someone who has never used containers. So it starts with a layman example, and it gives these are whatever is what is a container. So you can read this. So let's try one more example. You are a CS engineer. Explain polymorphism to a 5. Okay, I have one more very good example. Let's leave this. You are a American slang musician. You talk and walk in American street slangs. All right, so this is my system prompt. Now its personality is like American rapper. So let's see, let's ask it, how are you? I've kept it in my user prompt. So let's clear the terminal once. Okay, So you can see that what responses gave you, what's cracking, how you're living. Alright, you can play with that. I wanted to play, but I have to teach you. Okay, so you understood what is role-based prompting or persona prompting. Let's hop on to the next type of prompting, that is chain of thought prompting. So this is a good type of prompting in which reasoning is very important rather than give all the answer in one shot. So let's copy this example and first read what is in the example. A shop sells pencils at 5 rupees each. If a customer buys 12 pencils and gives 100, how much change should they receive? Think step by step before giving the final answer. Let's copy this prompt and paste it in our system prompt. Alright, let's run this. So it will firstly tell me all the steps that it did to arrive at that decision. So let's see what all the steps it did. So let's calculate the total cost of 12 pencils first. Cost of one pencil is ₹5. Total number of pencils bought is 12. Total cost, it made a formula and did the calculation. Next we'll calculate how much change to be given back to the customer. So step by step it made all the calculations and arrived at the final answer, that is ₹40. So this is kind of very reliable approach in which we need some reasoning, means kind of some mathematical things, or we just want the LLM to like think step by step. So this is the type of prompting named as chain of thought prompting. Alright, so let's hop on to the next type of prompting, that is tree of thought prompting. So we have example, you're planning a startup idea in the AI space. Step 1, generate for each thing, like chain of thoughts. For example, you have one thing and you branch over to 3 different ideas. Each idea will have its different pros and cons. Second idea will have a different pros and cons. Third idea will have. So in each idea it will go and analyze what is the best things, what is the worst, what is the best, like that. So I hope you get the point. So let's copy this and let's paste it in our code. Let's try it out. Alright, all set, and we'll clear the terminal once and just hit run. So what I said, for each idea list pros and cons, evaluate feasibility, market demand, choose the best option and justify your choice. Means why did you arrive at that conclusion. So it gave all the steps. So we start from here, main.py, and it generated 3 different startup ideas. The first idea, the second idea, the third idea. Step 2 was list all the pros and cons. So in each of the idea it listed all the pros and cons. Second idea pros and cons, third idea pros and cons, and the third step that we mentioned in the system prompt was for each idea give feasibility, market demands and the parameters, competition. So let's see in the third step what it did. Yes, it did what we said, the feasibility, market demand and all the things. Step 4 was uses an entire context and arrive at a conclusion that will be the best suited one. So we said that choose the best option and justify your choice. So the chosen option is AI based mental health therapy bot. So it was the second startup idea that it gave. So after considering all the market demands, the pros and cons, it arrived at this solution, and the justification for arriving at this conclusion is written over here. So I'll expand the window. You can see the structure once, what all the things happened, and I hope you understand what tree of thought prompting is. Firstly, listed all the startup ideas, listed all the pros and cons individually for all the 3 ideas. The next thing is feasibility, market demands and the parameters that need to be considered for a good startup idea. Fourth step was arriving at a one conclusion or a one startup idea that will be best suited and giving a justification why it arrived at that conclusion. So these all steps we defined in the prompt itself and it followed that. So this was tree of thought prompting, and we will choose the type of prompting technique according to the business requirement, according to the scenario and what is the situation. So we can't go blindly with this is my favorite prompting technique and I will use only this one. We can't do that. It depends upon the situation and the requirement. So last is some tips that you should keep in mind to be a good prompt engineer. So you have to be very precise and specific, because if you give LLM like a large system prompt and it has some shit, so it will make the LLM to hallucinate and give you a bad response. So you have to be very precise with your words so that you like kind of deliver more information in less number of words and it is very clear to understand what you mean. So clearly define the task, context and desired outcome. Specify the output format. Tell the model like how to respond. So for example, in such a we consider a scenario in which you want the model to generate a PPT for you. So you will define the entire structure of the PPT in your system prompt. So I want the PPT like this. So this should be the slide number 1. It should be in a dictionary. Bullet point should be in a list, so that you can render according to whatever you want, maybe in the UI. So you should you can tell the LLM what output format it needs to follow. So the third thing is use clear constraints, limit length, tone, structure and scope to reduce randomness. What I said in the first point is you should not overload the LLM with context. You can specify the tone and the structure, you should structure the prompt as well. So you can define in the beginning these are the security layers and these are my instructions, these are some few short examples. So yes, so the next thing is avoid overloading the prompt, like what I again said in the first point. Too many instructions and contradictions increase hallucinations. Be precise and be very clear in lesser words. Use delimiters for clarity. So separate instructions from input data, codes, triple backticks or tags. So I'll give you one example. So we learned one example where we are giving that this thing. So this is few shot prompting. So for example, I will write this here and we can keep this example like in tags. So this is also very standard industry followed prompting technique. We kind of give our examples in these tags, whatever you're using. For example, your points, you have some points, you can give point 1 and point 2 like that. So these are delimiters that you can use and you can structure your prompt so that it is easy for the LLM to understand what you are saying. All right. So the next thing is guide reasoning for complex tasks. What we saw in this tree of thought prompting and the chain of thought prompting, we define the steps what all need to be followed to arrive at a solution or do some reasoning. So the last point is add hallucination guardrails. So for example, you ask a question to the LLM that it doesn't have the context of. So you ask something to the LLM, what is my name, and it doesn't know what is your name. So instead of saying my name is Harish like that, so it should give you, I don't know, rather than giving a wrong response very confidently, it should give you that I don't know about what you're talking. So this is basically for safety. So I hope you understand what all the tips I give for being a good prompt engineer and what all the examples that are being covered for a beginner to an intermediate prompt engineering. So that is it for this video. Thank you. Bye bye.